Hi everyone, today we are going to deal with the chapter oxytocin and other drugs acting on uterus. So it is the part 1. Regarding the introduction, drugs acting on the uterus can primarily affect the endometrium or myometrium. The most important drugs acting on the endometrium are the estrogens, progestins and their antagonists. Myometrium receives both sympathetic and parasympathetic innervations. As a result, autonomic drugs can affect its motility. The directly acting drugs are more important and have more selective actions. The responsiveness of the myometrium to drugs is affected by hormonal and gestational status. So we are going to deal with the uterine stimulants, oxytocins, as well as abortifacients. So these are the drugs increases the uterine motility, especially at terms. Posterior pituitary hormones, ergot alkaloids, prostaglandins, as well as miscellaneous. So the posterior pituitary hormones, it is said to be the oxytocin as well as desaminoxytoxins, ergot alkaloids, ergometrin, also known as the ergonovine, then methyl ergometrin. In the case of the prostaglandins, PGE2 as well as dinoprostone. Then PGF2 alpha, it is also known as dinoprost. 15-methyl PGF2 alpha, it is known as the carboprost as well as misoprostol, also known as the mifepristone. So in the case of the miscellaneous, ethacridine as well as that of quinine. So moving to the oxytocin, it is the non-peptide secreted by the posterior pituitary along with arginine vasopressin. So a non-peptide is said to be an oligopeptide comprised of 9 amino acid residues. The pituitary extract was first used in labor in 1909. Vincent du Vignette in 1953 separated oxytocin and vasopressins by determining their chemical structure and synthesized them. Both of them have 9 amino acids and differ at position 3 and 8. Both oxytocin and arginine vasopressin are synthesized within the nerve cell bodies in supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus. That is, this oxytocin as well as the arginine vasopressin is both been synthesized within the nerve bodies. Within the nerve bodies, in the supraoptic as well as that of the paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus, it is been transported down the axon and been stored within a nerve ending within a neurohypophysis. So they are stored in a separate neuron as complexes. The storing is being done in a separate neuron as a complexes with their specific binding proteins called as the neurophysins to form granules. So both of these are being released by the stimuli appropriate for the oxytocin. For example, the coitus, parturition as well as suckling. Then in case of the antidiuretic hormones, hypertonic saline infusion, water deprivation as well as hemorrhages. It can be non-specific, that is pain as well as that of apprehension. The proportion of the oxytocin to antidiuretic hormones can vary depending upon the nature of the stimulus. So there are generally 4 steps is being discussed here. This hypothalamic neurons synthesizes the oxytocin as well as that of antidiuretic hormones. The oxytocin and antidiuretic hormones are transported along the hypothalamic hypophyseal tract to the posterior pituitary. Then the oxytocin as well as antidiuretic hormones are stored in the axon terminals in the posterior pituitary. And finally, oxytocin and antidiuretic hormones are released into the blood when hypothalamic neurons fire. So there are certain markings is being done in this figure regarding this paraventricular nuclei, supraoptic nucleus, optic chiasma, infundibulum. So infundibulum is said to be the connecting stalk. Then hypothalamic hypophyseal tract, axon terminals, as well as the posterior lobe of the pituitary. So about the mechanism of action, oxytocin bind to the G protein coupled oxytocin receptors present in the myometrium of the uterus. So this oxytocin generally bind to the G protein coupled receptors of the oxytocin or the oxytocin receptors presented in the myometrium of the uterus. This leads to the hydrolysis of the phosphatidylinositol 4,5-diphosphate to inositol triphosphate as well as that of DAG. This will lead to the release of the intracellular calcium ions. This stimulated the oxytocin receptors lead to the depolarization of the muscle fibers, causing the calcium ions influx. Causes the depolarization as well as the calcium ion influx occurs. So both of these lead to the uterotonic effects of oxytocin. The number of the oxytocin receptors increases during the later part of the pregnancy. Finally, the biometrial sensitivity to oxytocin increases. So about the pharmacological effect in the uterus. In small doses, they causes the contraction of the fundus and the body and dilation of the lower uterine segments, which favor the expulsion of the fetus from the uterine cavity. The sustained contraction allows the maternal blood to squeeze out the placenta to the maternal inferior vena cava, while the relaxation period is between the contraction facilitates refilling of the placental blood vessels by maternal blood and thereby avoids asphyxial injury to the fetus. In larger doses, more powerful as well as frequent contractions are produced due to the asphyxial injury more likely to occur. So the pregnant woman or the pregnant uterus is more sensitive to oxytocin during the last trimester and is optimum during the onset of labor. So, in the breast, the oxytocin stimulates the myoepithelial surrounding the mammary alveoli, forcing the milk from the alveolar lumen into the milk sinusoids. This is called as the milk ejection reflex or milk let down and is stimulated by sucking by the infants. CVS. In larger doses, the oxytocin relaxes the vascular smooth muscles and produces transient hypotension accompanied by flushing and tachycardia. In larger doses, oxytocin exerts antidiuretic effect in the postpartum women, which can lead to pulmonary edema. So about the physiological role, labor, milk ejection reflex as well as neurotransmission. So in the case of the labor, oxytocin is released during the labor and the uterus is highly sensitive to it at that time. It does not appear to be obligatory for initiating parturition. Delivery occurs even in hypophysectomized animals and humans, though labor may be prolonged in its absence. A facilitatory role is also possible. PGS as well as PAF are complementary to oxytocins. This PGS is said to be the prostaglandins as well as PAF is said to be the platelet activating factors. So it is complementary to oxytocin. Next about the milk ejection reflex. Suckling reflexly induces the oxytocin release from the pituitary and it contracts the myoepithelial cells. These cells in breast are more sensitive than the myometrium to oxytocin. Milk ejection is absent in hypophysectomized animals. So the next is about the neurotransmission. Regarding the neurotransmission, oxytocin appears to function as a peptide neurotransmitter of oxytocinergic neurons in the hypothalamus and brainstem, which serves to regulate the autonomic outflow. Next about the pharmacokinetics. They are rapidly absorbed when administered through the intramuscular or intravenous route. Half-life is about 3 minutes in pregnant women. Metabolized in the liver, excreted through the kidney. It is inactivated by oxytocinase, an enzyme present in the uterine tissues and the placenta of the pregnant women. About the adverse effect, due to the antidiuretic effect, oxytocin occasionally causes water intoxication when given along with IV fluids. Inappropriate use of oxytocin during the labor results in the uterine rupture, premature birth, fetal asphyxia as well as that of death. So this fetal asphyxia is referred as a medical condition resulting from the deprivation of oxygen to a newborn infant that lasts long enough during the birth process to cause physical harm. usually to the brain. So what about the contraindications? They are contraindicated in conditions like fetal distress, abnormal fetal presentations, then prematurity, cephalopelvic disproportion, and other uterine predispositions. So the next drug is said to be the desaminoxytoxin. It has been developed as a buccal formulations. The actions are similar to that of the injected oxytoxins but less consistent. Induction of labor, 50 IU buccal tablet repeated every 30 minutes, maximum of 10 tablets. Uterine inertia, 25 IU every 30 minutes. So uterine inertia is said to be the failure of the uterus to expel a fetus normally. So the promotion of the uterine involutions, 25 to 50 IU 5 times daily for 7 days. So this uterine involutions is said to be the process by which the uterus is transformed from the pregnant to a non-pregnant state. Then the breast engorgement, 20 to 50 IU just before breastfeeding. So about the therapeutic uses, there are about 5 therapeutic uses. Induction and augmentation of the labor, hypotonic uterine inertia to control the postpartum hemorrhages, breast engorgement, as well as oxytocin challenge test. So first is about the induction and augmentation of the labor. To induce labor, oxytocin is administered by slow IV infusion, 5 IU in 500 ml of 5% dextrose or saline solution at the rate of 0.2 to 2 ml per minute. Next about the hypotonic uterine inertia. When the uterine contractions are feeble, 2 to 5 IU of oxytocin in 500 ml of normal saline is administered by slow IV infusions. Next about to control the postpartum hemorrhages, oxytocin 5 IU is administered by intramuscular or intravenous infusion to arrest the postpartum hemorrhages. Breast engorgement, oxytocin is given intranasally few minutes before sucking to promote the milk ejection. Oxytocin challenge test. In a very low concentration, oxytocin is given by IV infusion to determine uteroplacental adequacy in high-risk patients. An increased fetal heart rate indicates uteroplacental inadequacy. About the miscellaneous drugs, ethacridine. It is an acridine compound that is used as an oxytocin drug extra-amniotically for second trimester abortion. It causes GI side effects, but serious effects occurs rarely. It is administered in the form of extra-amniotic infusions, 150 ml with 10 ml of 0.1% solution, given for each gestation weeks. Thank you all.